Let's welcome in our morning guest at this point of time. SP Prasad is with us. Mr. Ruchit Jain is with us. Imtiaz Qureshi is also with us. SP, what's your call first on the markets, and then we can go on your top picks. Do you think that markets would continue to go up, especially after the French election news that markets have seen?
I think French election, I will hold my breath, frankly. I think it's slightly early days to really take a call on that. Pankaj, generally in line with the muted results, corporate results, that has been pretty much anticipated. But the fact is the markets have run up far ahead of the actual last quarter results. So I would expect a little bit of a pause to happen as far as markets are concerned. So again, always good to take some profits off the table. I think that's what I would generally tell people. What are the stocks I like? I think Reliance, I mentioned in one of the earlier sessions, we had that Reliance is a counter that one likes. With Jio also settling down, they've been able to retain a lot of customers. Hopefully the pricing will become that much more a company plus also as we move along. So Reliance is counter definitely one likes. SBI I continue to like. The oil pack is something that I like, and in the pharma pack I would look at both Dr. Reddy's and Sun Pharma.
Right. What do you make of HDFC Bank's numbers, SP?
I think for a large bank, I would be, I'm not unhappy. I mean, the fact is what we need to understand also that the base is large. Expecting the sort of huge growth that they saw earlier, I think it was a 30% CAGR quarter on quarter. Now, expecting that to happen. So in that sense, it's a quality name. I think it's a name which you have to have in your portfolio. Obviously, whenever there's a bit of a decline, I think these are some of the counters you pick up some stock. But it's a defensive stock. I think that's one thing that we need to appreciate. This is not going to be a huge, kind of doubling, tripling of price numbers, valuation numbers, because already it's a fairly fully valued stock.
Right. Ruchit, what are your calls for the day?
Hi, good morning, Pankaj. Well, among the stock specific front, first we are recommending to go along in Grasim. There's a high top, high bottom structure on the daily as well as weekly charts, and we have seen that during the last week after a consolidation phase, the prices have resumed a broader degree of trend. And if we just observe this up move which was seen on Thursday, it was backed up by very good volumes, which is an indication that this uptrend might get continued further on the upside. One can go long around current levels with stop loss below 1078. We are expecting target around 1190 in this stock in very short term. And my second pick is a buy call in Aditya Birla Fashion Retail Limited. Well, a mid-cap stock, but if we observe the weekly charts, and after a long consolidation phase of about 1 year or so, the prices have given a breakout with increasing volumes. So this is an indication that if we see the stock in next 2 to 3 months perspective, I think this up move should get continued since it's a breakout after a 1 year of consolidation phase. We are expecting on the higher side the stock to go higher up to 196. One can go long around current levels, keeping stop loss below 170.
Imtiaz, what are your calls? Imtiaz, what are your calls?
Very good morning, Pankaj. Mostly expecting market to have a very much flat start, but maybe second half would be very good for the market. And I think so this being an expiry week, we would see very much volatility in the entire market. From the option side, I think so 9200 call and 9100 put. So that means 9200 would be acting as a big support. Expiry would be tend to having in between that. Stock specific, we are looking very much good activity. My first pick would be Jet Airways. What we have seen in the Jet Airways, that we have seen the fall down, and after that fall down we have seen the retracement of this fall down. I would see some very much momentum going ahead. Recommending that buy with a stop loss of 480 for the target of 560. As we have seen Indigo also very much showing the outperformance. I think so the follow-up action will definitely come in Jet Airways. Next call would be Hindustan Zinc. What I have seen that there has been a third structure getting completed on the downside. Right, and the fourth upside tick would be definitely getting started right now. So I believe that maybe this range would be getting breakout very soon. 265 would be the stop loss and 315 would be the higher side target. Lastly, we have seen one sector very much outperforming, that is NBFC stocks. So Equitas would be my third pick. where we had seen the correction getting completed on the fourth leg on the higher side getting open. So this would be the very good opportunity for the Equitas to move somewhere around near to the 52-week high, or maybe you can say all-time high. 164 would be the stop loss and target would be 200.
Right. Imtiaz, you said that it will be difficult for markets to cross certain levels. Then why all three buy calls, or you have any sell calls as well?
Pankaj, actually, I'm not that much negative on the market. Maybe the sentiment definitely on the global side is showing the wariness, but overall trends look very much positive. As I said, the 9200 call option getting overwrited, and on the 9100 put showing the performance on the downside. So I think unless we don't break below 9075, there would not be any sell getting emerged, and buy on decline strategy will definitely continue. Only the sell call from my side will emerge if the Nifty breaks below 9075 on the spot side.
Right. Some companies would also be reacting to results and news flow, and let's look at them. So ACC, of course, will be one where you have Q1 numbers which were declared on Friday post market hours. If I look at the numbers, sales numbers have come in at 3,099 crores. This is about 8% higher. PAT numbers have come in at about 211 odd crores. So this is broadly the numbers that are slightly higher than what the street was estimating. EBITDA has come in at about 341 crores, and the volume growth number, which was a positive number versus a decline in the past 3 quarters. So that's again a good beat as far as volume is concerned. New capacity addition helped the volume growth. However, the street had already built into that when they were looking at a flat volume growth. Let's just sum up the numbers. So EBITDA per ton, 476 rupees a ton. That's a pretty strong number versus estimates. Not that on a YOY or a QOQ basis the numbers are looking good. Volumes at about 4% growth, and you have RMC, that's the white cement business, which was up about 8%. Cement realizations were good. They were up around 4% on a YOY basis. SV, in terms of ACC, these numbers are better than estimates in terms of volumes, in terms of EBITDA per ton. There is a good cost control that the company has shown. But you just get a sense that recovery is not happening. So despite numbers being better, you don't expect an all-out rally in ACC or any of the other cement names?
No, not really. If at all that were to happen, I think the stocks that would benefit would be an Ambuja Cement and Ultratech and Grasim. I think these are the counters that would benefit, especially Grasim kind of deconglomerating, if one can put it that way in some sense. I would expect these to have a lot more. But ACC at the end of the day has got its legacy issues. I mean, it's a lot of legacy issues have got ironed out, and till the grand merger happens, that is ACC Ambuja Cements having a common parent, I think ACC will always suffer in terms of valuation, etc., efficiencies and so on and so forth with respect to some of the other names I mentioned.
Right. Let's talk about Ultratech as well. Ultratech will be declaring numbers today. So you have sales numbers which are expected at 6,476 crores. This is the sales numbers that you're looking at, flat with really no growth on a YOY basis. PAT numbers are expected at 650 crores. That's because the sales numbers are expected to be flat, and that will have an impact on the EBITDA front. In terms of EBITDA, 1,210 crores. So the estimates are slightly varied. So between 1,150 to about 1,350. That's where the estimates are, but overall consensus numbers comes in close to 1,210 crores in terms of EBITDA. Again, for Ultratech, let's just look at the entire matrix. So volumes are expected at 13.5 million shares. This is broadly a flat number on a YOY basis. EBITDA per ton is expected at 654 rupees a ton, and realizations are expected close to about 3,972. That's EBITDA margins, not EBITDA growth. So we'll just clarify that. So EBITDA margins are expected at 16.6%, and that is a good number that essentially the street will eye out for. This is Ultratech for you. SV, as you said that Ultratech is a better name in the cement industry to own. Is that just because it's a leader, or you expect it to be better in terms of return ratios versus ACC or probably what Gujarat Ambuja will declare?
I think it's a combination of both. One likes Ambuja Cement as well. Ambuja has always commanded a brand premium in the market, and also the fact is the proximity to the lucrative Mumbai market. I think that's a big plus for Ambuja Cement, especially for the Gujarat plants. But certainly for both the reasons that you mentioned, one will closely look at Ultratech as well if one is looking at cement as a pack.
Right. Reliance Industries will also be declaring numbers today, and that will clearly be the big one today. So, but numbers will come out post-market hours, so the reaction would only come in tomorrow. 67,200 crores in terms of sale, 8,000 crores in terms of profit. That's a 9% growth for Reliance Industries. Very, very strong numbers expected as far as Reliance is concerned. 8,000 crore, that's a very strong number for Reliance. EBITDA is seen at 11,329 crore. That's the EBITDA number. If they deliver this number again, it will be a very positive as far as the number is concerned. Now, you know, there are very few brokers who look at consolidated estimates, but these are consolidated. Somebody is looking at PAT. Really, there is no difference. However, the sales is slightly higher. So apart from that, there is no major difference right now. But if you look at the Reliance business, of course, Jio update will be one of the most important things. But there are two things always to watch out for. This is the EBIT number. So the EBIT number is expected to be close to 10,000 crores, which is a 12% growth. And you have the Petchem business, which is expected to grow 32%. You have the refining business, which is expected to be flat. So the Petchem business is expected to do well. This is as far as the breakup of EBIT is concerned. In terms of GRM, $11.1 a barrel. Now there are some estimates which also suggest close to 10.9, but you know, always Reliance, always, you know, you tend to give that extra 20 to 30 basis points because for so long they have outperformed the Singapore GRM, and that's why it's close to 11.1. Reliance Jio, there will surely be an update about that. So on 1st of April they said that they have 7.2 million subscribers. That is as of 31st March. They gave an update on 1st of April. Street will now look forward to what's the new Jio subscriber base. Remember, there was this extension, there is a new offer which has come in. So if there is any update on that, the street would definitely wait for that. Also, Jio capex, there are mixed views. So some are saying that the worst in terms of capex is behind and now there'll only be incremental marginal capex. So if the management says anything, it's not that they have to say about it, but if there is a Jio capex update, it is likely something that the street would focus on. Reliance Industries 1409, it's up around 30% on a quarter-to-quarter basis as far as Reliance stock price is concerned. Ruchit, I know you don't look at numbers, but going into the numbers, looking at the price or chart patterns, would you be positive on Reliance Industries?
Yes, Pankaj, definitely if we only see the price momentum, then what this stock has done after a consolidation phase of almost 8 years. We saw a good, in the 2008 bear market when the stock had given a fall. Post that, irrespective of the market movement, the stock had remained sideways for a period of 8 years. And in this month of February, that is on 22nd Feb, this 8 years of consolidation phase got, prices gave breakout of that consolidation with humongous volumes. And even if we see after the breakout, then definitely the stock has continuously moved higher with increasing volumes, which is suggesting that this is one of the stock which is now headed towards a higher, further much higher targets, and it's definitely an impulsive up move. So I don't think that there would be much of corrective move irrespective of whatever numbers they post in today's result. On the lower side, post this breakout, the stock has not given
Ruchit, I'll just come back to you. Markets have opened 30 points higher for Sensex, 17 point Nifty. Hindalco is up 50 paisa. Cipla is absolutely flat. Aurobindo Pharma is really no change, and BPCL is up close to 4 to 5 rupees. Dr. Reddy's, there is a news flow regarding a launch, 12 rupees higher, 2,621. HDFC Limited, 1,508, 1,000 shares traded. Hero MotoCorp up close to 11 rupees, 3,215. Grasim is up flat with a positive bias, and Asian Paints is up close to 2 rupees. That's ACC for you, 1.5% higher. As we told you, volumes were better than estimates, and that's why the number is looking, the stock is looking on the positive side. 19,000 shares traded. Generally, you never see volumes onto this names. Let's look at the mid-cap companies as well. So Tata Metallics, 2 to 3 rupees higher, 670 for Tata Metallics, 0.4% higher, 2 to 3 rupees higher for Tata Metallics. Mahindra Lifespace, there was a decline on a YOY basis as far as profits are concerned. However, the sales numbers were on the positive side, but still volumes were lower, and that's the reason why it's down. Tin plates, profits have grown quite significantly on a YOY basis, 6% higher for tin plate, 93.94 as far as tin plate is concerned, 2.5 lakh shares traded. Dr. Reddy's is a stocks in news. It's up around 0.5, 0.6 odd percent. So that's a stock which is doing well right now. DV's Lab, let's look at that. So they've got a warning letter, but really no change. The plant is already under import alert. So the warning letter came in as a procedural thing. It's nothing new. Of course, the street would look at the developments regarding warning letter, but you already have an import alert, so it becomes a little bit of irrelevant news as well. Alchem Lab, 16 rupees lower. There is a downgrade which has come in from Nomura. but it's just a downgrade to neutral, so it's not a sell at this point of time. 2052, and they've got a US FDA approval as well. So really no volume, so it's just 1,000 shares are traded right now. IRB Infrastructure, they have filed for the much awaited Investec. It's up around close to about 1.7 odd percent. It's a product like real estate. Lumax Industries, they've got an order from Maruti. Of course, they are an auto supplier, so they've got a order coming in from Maruti, which has taken the stock 6% higher, 1,430 rupees for Lumax. Let's look at iSure. What's happening over there? It's absolutely flat, just 219 shares traded, so really there is no volume there at this point of time. Some of the other names where volumes are pretty high and there seems to be some price action. So you have an India Cement, which is up 3% right now, looking in decently strong. Bombay Dyeing is up 3%, so that's a name which is doing well. Remember, it's a name which has also done well earlier, so that's a name which is doing well today as well. In fact, again, all the real estate stocks seem to be doing well today as well. So you have most of the real estate names that are doing well. Bombay Dyeing, of course, also one can say that it's a real estate company as well. So they have a lot of land parcel, that's why it's doing well. Fortis Healthcare is up 3%. It's doing pretty well, 210. There was some news flow over the weekend regarding the PE stake into the company and how it is progressing. So it seems to be in advanced stages, 2.7% higher. That's the news flow over there. Prestige Estate, I told you real estate is doing well. That's up around 1.5 to about 2 odd percent. You have names like largely, you have most of the names reacting to results or any news flow, or you have the entire real estate pack which is doing decently well. In terms of losers, Divi's is now the top loser on the 200 pack, so it's down 2.5%. Wipro, numbers come out tomorrow. Tomorrow, post market hours, Wipro will be declaring numbers, 1% lower for Wipro. Endurance Tech is down 1%, but really no volumes. Infosys and Glenmark are some of the other losers. So broadly flat in terms of opening for the market. Siddharth Sadani is also now joining us. Siddharth, good morning. What are your calls for the day?
Good morning, Pankaj. Well, calls for the day would be from the forging space, that is Bharat Forge, with a target of 1500. There are a lot of key drivers for the company. The company is looking for de-risking its model. They are initiating a lot of new products, getting in a lot of new product offerings. Along with that, they are also diversifying, expanding their R&D facility, even they're enhancing their domestic industrial production. So overall perspective, what we believe is the kind of transition and innovation phase it is into. I think Bharat Forge looks very interesting with medium to long term perspective. We believe that the MHCV segment can grow around 15 to 17% for FY17 in US, and the growth, if we talk about the earnings precisely, FY17 should be a little flat, but FY18 we can expect around 11-12% kind of a growth for Bharat Forge. So, the second idea what we believe is Kirloskar Brothers, again into pumps and valves. It's one of the leaders and strong market share in terms of pumps and valves, and the kind of constructive view we have on the rural theme. I think Kirloskar Brothers fits the bill. Overall perspective, Kirloskar Brothers was making losses is just because of some of the provisioning. Now things are behind us. Kirloskar Brothers looks very interesting in terms of growing profits, in terms of pumps and valves. So overall perspective, on the basis of agri growth, agri revival, Kirloskar Brothers looks very interesting with a medium term perspective with a target of 357.
Right. What did you make of HDFC Bank's numbers? It's up 2% today as well.
Well, numbers were fairly okay, more or less constant. If you look at the loan growth, blended loan growth was also around 19%, which has come up little bit from the last quarter. I think that is also one of the positive point. I think the bank has been performing good. It has been a great, showing a great run rate over a period of many quarters today. So HDFC Bank, in terms of ROA growth is also expected to be good. But in terms of private banking space, still we would like to stick to our own preferred bets. That would be IndusInd Bank, followed by Yes Bank.
Right. As we already told about HDFC Bank, the big problem in HDFC Bank, do you think, is valuations? The trust that people have that the bank will continue to grow and that will lead to limited upside?
Yeah, as I said, this is part of your portfolio, but it's more of a defensive play. So one cannot, so one is looking for as it is, both the private bank and NBFC space have grown a lot. So therefore, it's part of a portfolio, but I would looking at buying at HDFC Bank, Pankaj, every time there's a bit of a downside on the market, because going forward, as I mentioned, the kind of spectacular growth that the bank has seen, so this quarter numbers are pretty decent. I think, Pankaj, the critical thing is going to be that, and the bank is also, I think, seeing the signs. They're increasing branches as much as they have increased before. They have drastically reduced the number of branches, because what I think the bank is betting more on is e-banking. I think more and more Indians are not going on brick and mortar, especially the private banks. Focuses on e-banking. So how the transition happens, what impact it has in terms of its business margins, I think these are all something that would be something interesting to look at, because Kotak has also gone hugely aggressive on e-banking. They're talking of opening new accounts in a matter of minutes, etc. So I think, having said that, HDFC is well positioned to meet these challenges. So it's a good stock to have in your portfolio, but it's a defensive play.
Right. Ruchit, in terms of ACC, what are charts looking like? It's up, it's positive about 2.5%. It's the top gainer on the Nifty pack. Do you think it will continue to do well?
The short to medium term signs for the stock are definitely positive. We have seen a good consolidation phase happening in the stock for the last 1.5 months, and the stock has now formed a good base around this 1370, 1380 and has resumed the formation of higher top, higher bottom structure. Even if you see the recent past, then the 200 days SMA, which was acting as a resistance for the stock, which was placed around 1480, has been crossed. So I think the outlook definitely remains positive. From very short term perspective of 1 or 2 weeks, I think we could see levels around 1580, 1590 in the stock. Whereas if one has a time horizon of 2 to 3 months, then I think the stock should move higher towards 1650, 1670 kind of levels.
Right. Indiabulls real estate is now the top gainer. It's up 7% odd. What are charts telling you? It's again gone back to its almost its year high of 155.
So the entire real estate pack, Pankaj, in fact, has shown a good breakout on the charts. If we observe the Nifty Realty Index, then on the weekly as well as the monthly charts, after a consolidation phase, this index has started forming high top, high bottom structure. Stock specific, IB Real, no doubt, it has already shown a good momentum, and this momentum is getting continued. But I think if one is looking for a fresh entry from any stock in this stock, then couple of names that we like from here on is, one is DLF. DLF on the weekly charts has given a breakout of its previous resistances high, and if we observe the last week's volume activity along with the up move in the prices, then the volumes were quite good. So I think in the near term the stock should move higher to 200, 210 kind of levels. And another stock from the mid cap space which has been showing good momentum is Anantraj Industries. Even this stock on the weekly charts has given a breakout of a falling trendline resistance, and this stock may move higher up to 75, 76 in very short term. So from a risk reward perspective, although the entire real estate pack as a whole is looking bullish, but two of the names which looks good even from current levels from a good risk reward perspective are DLF and Anantraj Industries.
DLF and Anantraj both you think will outperform the real estate pack or the entire market?
See, the real estate pack as a whole should outperform this entire market. If we observe the Nifty Realty Index, then I think this index would be outperformer vis-a-vis the Nifty Index. So I think this index as a whole would be outperformer within the other sectoral indices, and from this index, I think these two stocks should show good outperformance.
SV, are you a fond of real estate names? No, you know that. I mean, this is one sector. You may say it's a missed opportunity for me, but I don't regret. This is not a sector for. This is for a sector where people need to have really, tough stomach. I think yes, the momentum may be for this sector, and what I find kind of what I'm not able to understand. Today only I was reading that the number of registrations of housing in Bombay has drastically dropped. So and then you look at stocks going. Okay, I appreciate that real estate is not only a residential play, but having said that, there is obviously a bit of a dichotomy. Yes, there are good names from a fundamental point of view, like Godrej Properties. There are names like an Oberoi. But generally, this is this sector that I don't really recommend unless you are a really seasoned investor.
Right. Imtiaz, what is your call on India Bull Real Estate? It's again making a new high. It's up around 7% right now.
Pankaj, I think so. There has been a very big turnaround if I talk about the real estate, not only with the India Bull Real Estate, but even if you see the small cap like GMR Infra, it has given a fantastic returns in last two trading sessions. So I think so. This is going to be showing a very much, you can say, long-term differences happening in right now, and I think so. This stock has become very much. Particularly talking about India Bull Real Estate, I think so that there has been a very much, you can say, sideways momentum from last 2 or 3 trading sessions, but today it has given a breakout of that momentum. So on the higher side, I'm expecting 180, 190 would be the achievable target in next couple of weeks. So the base remain positive for the India Bull Real Estate.
Right. SP wanted to say something?
Yeah, just a quick one. Especially small investors who have got lured into this real estate and have invested through IPO, NFO, etc. I think it's a great opportunity to exit. I think especially I know a lot of my friends have invested in stocks like DLF. I would send a strong message to them: don't look for the top, keep exiting. This is a great opportunity for you to exit this sector.
Right. Siddharth, what is your call on real estate? Do you think it will continue to do well?
Well, real estate has been moving well. I think that can be more of a short term in nature. But rather than taking a fundamental bet on these companies, I would like to go for the affordable housing companies. I think wherever there is a housing finance companies which are funding to the affordable housing, I think those set of companies in NBFC space looks very interesting. Companies like Diwan Housing Finance, that looks very interesting to me because the kind of valuations it is trading in, and I don't find any of the company in the real estate pack which is really actually affordable housing or housing for all, whatever the plans government has till 2022. I think none of the company fits the bill. So housing finance companies are the one which I would like to bet on with 2 to 3 years perspective.
Right. SP, do you think that Fortis Healthcare, something like a Dr. Lal Path Labs, these are gaining more interest off late because of what's happening with the pharma pack? Is that a way to play pharma or consumption?
I think it's more a consumption game because pharma pack is more of an export. I mean, if you traditionally pharma pack has been Sun Pharma, has been Reddy's, Lupin, etc., or some of the MNC names. So I think it's more a consumption play, and also to some extent, Pankaj, this is also because of the M&A activity that's happening on these counters. I think that's also had a bearing as far as some of the names that you mentioned, Fortis, etc., is also because of M&A, also because of IPO activity, sensible pricing in the case of Path Lab. So I think these are some of the reasons.
Right. Reliance is now also among the top gainers. It's at about 1420. Of course, the stock has done extremely well going into the results. Siddharth, what would you watch out for Reliance Industries when the results are declared?
Well, of course, the GRMs would be very important. I think the consensus expectation is around $11 odd. I think it should come around those levels. Revenue should be little flattish, around 0.5 to 1.5% growth we may see in the revenue part. Profits would be little higher by 5 to 7%. So overall perspective, yes, Reliance can post a decent set of numbers. If it beats the expectation, I think it will justify the pricing, the current price, what it is trading at. Although we don't have a coverage on Reliance, but what we believe is the company has a good outlook for 3 to 6 months.
Right. As you said about the numbers and what consensus are estimating, I was talking more about commentary. What would you want to hear from the management, when they speak, when they declare their numbers? What updates would you want?
No, No, of course, I would like to understand more further about the Geo Prime offers and whatever the Geo's growth and revenue perspective is there for next 2 years. I think that will keep the stock excited. I think that is what the entire analyst community may be watching out for. Apart from that, what I would like to understand is some of the facilities in the petchem and the refining side which they have added over the period of last 2-3 years. What is the commissioning time of these facilities? Some of them which is already commissioned, some are getting commissioned this quarter. So some micro projects which are coming up for this company, I think that is also one of the factors which I would like to look out for.
Right. Imtiaz, any view on Reliance Industries?
If I talk about Reliance Industry, I think so the daily chart and monthly charts are showing very much outperformance for the Reliance Industry, and I think so this base is going to continue. I'm not having much bigger target for the Reliance Industry, just only 40-50 rupees higher from this current level, because already we have seen the stock has already rallied from the level of 1298 to almost 1420, 1430. So not much performance I'm expecting. Maybe there would be some decline coming back to 1360, 1365, and from there we can see a huge rally coming up. But as of now, maximum 1450, 1460 would be the upside target.
Right. Imtiaz, any view on Indiabull Housing Finance? It's crossed the 1,000 rupee mark. It's at a live high, and they also declare numbers today.
Pankaj, if I talk about Indiabull Finance, the entire sector, NBFC, in the entire NBFC, the stock has given a big return. Like it has get the faith on the charts and for the investor. No doubt, the stock has right now given a breakout of 1,000 rupees. But to be very frank, it has become a very much overvalued on the chart because the overbought territory still continue for the stocks. We should shift from this right now for Indiabulls to some Equitas which has given in the morning. That same sectors with a good technical formations. So I think that could given a good performance in the coming days. And if I talk about Indiabull Housing Finance technical point, 1020, 1025 would be the resistance. If that breaks, then actually the stocks goes into the, you can say, very much you can say bullseye territory, which is going to take the stock more than 1100.
Right. SV, you are not bullish on, of course, real estate names, as you said, but housing finance companies, something like Indiabulls, which has, tried and, time and again proven its performance. Are these names that you like?
No, housing finance is a different kettle of fish. I think one should not mix real estate with housing finance. Here again, maybe I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I would focus on, the leaders. When you have an HDFC and you have LSC Housing, and of late I like Grow Finance as well. I think if at all, I think one of the fellow panelists mentioned about affordable housing funding. I think Grow would fit in that bill to a great extent. One would like to look at some of these counters, and some of them have come off as well, so a little bit. So I would like to focus more on these names. And over a period of time, these are a lot more liquid. There's a good participation of both retail and institutional investors in these counters. So these are the kind of names that I would look at.
Right, but overall for housing finance businesses, you would be positive they would continue to grow the way they have?
They may not continue to grow the way they have, but clearly again, as I mentioned, as in the case of a bank like an HDFC Bank, these are all good defensive play. These are names where the risk will be more pleasant. The downside is fairly limited because of the government's ambition of affordable housing by 2022, generally increase in people wanting to buy houses. I think these are some of the names that are definitely going to benefit from that point of view. So it's a steady growth. One cannot expect spectacular growth because markets have already rewarded these companies a fair bit.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective from you. SV, just before we go, your disclosures?
Apart from State Bank of India and HPCL and Sun Pharma, the other name I mentioned today is Ambuja Cement, where also have a small holding. These are the names where I have a personal small holding.
Right. Siddharth, disclosures for you?
Well, I don't hold any of the stock personally which I have discussed today, but my client and organization must be holding. Thank you so much.
Ruchit, disclosures?
Well, I don't personally hold any of the stocks that we have discussed, but the recommendations we have given, similar recommendations have been given to clients too, so they may have some holdings.
Imtiaz, for you?
Thank you very much, Pankaj. The stocks today which we have discussed, personally, I am not holding any of them positions.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective. Taking a break.